Hello everyone. Today is Monday, January 24th, 2022. Heavy gunfire heard as mutiny occurs at Burkina Faso military base. This article is taken from Voice of America. Heavy gunfire erupted inside a Burkina Faso military base early Sunday, sparking fears that a coup was underway in the West African country. This reporter managed to enter the base where a mutiny was taking place after being detained by the soldiers. They later released him with a list of demands. Arriving at Ouagadougou's largest military base, Camp Sangoulé La Mizana, the sounds of sporadic gunfire could be heard coming from inside. As we tried to approach, mutinous soldiers, their faces covered with bandanas, fired shots in the air and shouted at us to leave. I was with a journalist from the Associated Press. We rode to a nearby highway, which runs the length of the base, to try to get some elevated shots. Soldiers outside the walls of the camp spotted us, and we drove away quickly, but were soon stopped by troops who walked out into the road and fired shots in the air before training their guns on us. We threw our hands up. Shouting in French, the soldiers took our bags, cameras, and our motorcycle and walked us along the wall of the camp to a highway intersection where a crowd of about 100 people, some waving Burkinabe flags, had gathered. Shortly after that, around 20 soldiers fired into the air and shouted at the crowd to move back. While some soldiers were shouting at us, others told us it was going to be okay and they didn't intend to harm us. I began to wonder if we were being taken hostage. At the entrance to the base, soldiers blockaded the gates with armored vehicles. They took us aside and reunited us with our camera equipment and motorcycle. After around 15 minutes, they told us they were free to go. I think it means we were free to go, but not before they called one of the organizers of the mutiny on a phone to give us their list of demands. This is a recording of what was said. The speaker said, "We want enough troops to assist us in the fight against terrorism, more money and more troops." The soldiers also said they wanted the chief of the intelligence services and the military chief of staff to be replaced by the military. They asked for better care of the wounded and family of soldiers who have died in the conflict, better training which is adapted to terror threats, and the organization of a permanent military unit on the front lines, not one that changes with rotations. The demands were given by a captain who declined to be named. I'll go over these items because they're important. Some of these are what I've been saying that the African governments need to adopt to defeat the insurgency. Okay, it says we want enough troops. I've said that. I've said that for months, that those African countries that are at peace right now, they need to send troops to areas that have insurgencies. I'm talking about Angola, Ghana, the Democratic Republic, not Democratic Republic, but the Republic of Congo, Botswana. I don't know about Tanzania. I don't think they have an insurgency. Rwanda's doing it. Liberia, etc. Okay, they need more troops. We need more troops to assist us in the fight against terror. More money and more troops. More money. Obviously, some African countries don't have much money to pay their military, but they have to be paid if you expect them to do the job. Otherwise, you're going to have, I was going to say it before I even thought about the video. Otherwise, you're going to have a mutiny on your hands. The soldiers also said they wanted the chief of intelligence services and military chief of staff to be replaced. Okay, the intelligence services chief, okay, they want him or her gone because they're not doing their job. The job of the intelligence chief is to know what threats are, etc. So obviously they're not doing their job. And the chief of staff, they're not doing their job either. They're supposed to make sure that all the troops are taken care of, money and everything like that, and enough troops to accomplish the mission. And they ask for better care of the wounded and family of soldiers who have died in the conflict. You know, that's very important because, you know, if you have a 20-year-old son that died, you want to be compensated for that. You want to be taken care of. So, I mean, some of these things are self-explanatory, but the one that I said about more troops, I don't know how many troops Burkina Faso has out there. I haven't done much research on that military. But, you know, the average country where you have an insurgency like Mali, you're going to need somewhere around 100,000 troops because you have large areas and you need to have troops everywhere, basically, ready to respond to anything. And they have to have communication. I'm saying this stuff over and over again. I have to get my point across because I never know who's listening. But you have to have troops spread out throughout an area where there's an insurgency. So, and they have to have communications with the villagers, etc., the schools, all this stuff, the police departments, all this stuff. So everybody can, and they're strategically located with in QRF teams, quick response force, so that they can respond within minutes to a school kidnapping, a village shooting, or whatever. And, you know, the village chief or whoever is in the village being attacked, they can call you and you can respond to it within minutes. You know, this is what we need. And so the main thing I get, I mean, the intelligence, yes, all these other things are true. But what I've been calling for months is more troops.